Sometimes help and hope comes just in time, and that's the case for a starving puppy whose owner didn't want her anymore.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig has a lesson of compassion in the story of Joy.
Why would you just dump a live being who loves you, who's trying to follow you away? Why would you dump them in a warehouse where you know they're not going to survive?
Dumping an old tire is bad enough, but one man didn't think much about dumping this starving puppy inside this warehouse and closing the door.
The dog would have eventually died.
The warehouse is located on Joy Road near Dexter on Detroit's west side, and a woman living nearby says Thursday morning a man was first trying to leave the puppy in a field, but the puppy kept following him. That's when he made another heartless decision to put her in the vacant warehouse.
Shut the door behind him with just a box of food. And he said, well, I don't want this dog anymore. And she said, well, you know, you can turn the dog into a shelter. And he said, no, he wasn't going to do that, but she could do that if she wanted to.
Thankfully, that woman called for help, and volunteers with Detroit Pit Crew Dog Rescue responded to save the starving puppy. And they noticed there was also something wrong with one of her front legs. They named her Joy and rushed her to Centerline Veterinary Hospital.
Well, Joy is very severely malnourished. She's very thin, hasn't had a lot of good care, and unfortunately her left elbow appears to have had an old fracture that's healed wrong, so she's having a hard time getting around on that leg.
The good news is that while Joy may have to lose one of her legs, she is finally safe from what would have been a certain slow, painful death from dehydration and starvation. Detroit Pit Crew just wants people to know that dumping a dog in a building or on the street should never be an option.
I suggest you contact your local shelter, and if you don't want to turn the dog into a shelter, you can contact local rescues and see if anybody has room, but there's always options.
In Detroit, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.